I'm Ruth McKinney, a local realtor that fell in love with Greensboro 20 years ago. I came for college and never actually left. Come along with me as we talk about the fun, food, and faces that make Greensboro a gem of a small southern city.
Good morning, everybody. I am Ruth McKinney, your local park bench area sponsor, and I'm here with Kendra Adachi, who is a Greensboro treasure and also the best-selling author of The Lazy Genius Way. Embrace what matters, ditch what doesn't, and get stuff done. Hey, Kendra.
Hi, Ruth.
What's going on with you? What's new and what's happening in the world of The Lazy Genius?
Well, I had The Lazy Genius Way came out in August of 2020, which is not a time that I recommend anyone to release a book into the world. A few months into it, that was when we were like, are we going to be in a pandemic? What's going on? Like, can we leave yet? That was the time. And then, but yeah, that book came out and that was just thrilling. It's just been so fun to see that sell. And now, I have a new book coming out May 3rd called The Lazy Genius Kitchen, which is basically taking the 13 principles from The Lazy Genius Way, because it's a book that teaches principles, not like rules and systems, because we all need different things, because we all have different priorities. So it's not a one size fits all. So we need like tools and principles that we can apply creatively to our own situations. And The Lazy Genius Kitchen takes those 13 principles and applies them to your kitchen specifically, because we all got to eat, we've all got kitchens. So, and we're all like annoyed in there most of the time. And I don't want people to be annoyed in their kitchen. I want them to actually enjoy it, at least more than they don't. And so that comes out. It's very exciting. So we've just been kind of in kind of launch mode for that. It was a little bit, I don't know if you have heard this yet, but.
Yeah, something about your books went missing in the ocean.
They did. It's fine. The book release date was supposed to be March 22nd, and then, which is very soon from when we were recording this. And then in the middle of January, we got word that the cargo ship the book was on, because it's a 4-color book, and color books are almost exclusively printed overseas. And so they're like, so all the copies of your book were on a boat, and the boat was in a storm, and the boat lost a good bit of its cargo. And we don't know if your books were lost at sea or not.
Were they?
Fell overboard.
Did they fall overboard?
We found out 2 days ago that a third of them, so there are 10,000 copies of The Lazy Genius Kitchen at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. but 2/3, 20,000 of them are not. They're in a warehouse, and someone is like spot checking every copy to make sure they're not damaged, because a lot of stuff can you imagine having that job of being like, this is copy 17,872. So anyway,
oh my gosh.
It's been a little wild, but it's a really fun job to have, to be able to be creative and nimble, and we're just trying to find solutions and still trying to bring joy to people with this book. And I have a team of 3 other women, and so it's really lovely to have people who are really good at their jobs who can help do that. So that's been our biggest business focus right now, is that. Yeah.
And the kitchen, like, that's your love language, right? Food and kitchening and feeding others.
Is kitchening. I'm going to use that. Yes,
Please
I love
do.
kitchening.
And use my name on your podcast. I'll be like, I hate this.
Ruth called it kitchening. Yeah, it's I have loved to feed people for a really long time, and just have seen the value. I think I grew up to a point with the value of the table being something that really mattered, but I think it's just in my marrow. Like, I just like gather food, and I am just as happy gathering around takeout pizza as I am like an elaborate meal.
Right.
So all of it counts. All of it really matters. And sometimes you have energy for one and energy for the other, like it doesn't have to look one way for it to count. And so I just love to give people really specific tools of how to actually like be in your kitchen and have systems that work and plan your meals and keep things moving, and you're not always drowning in dirty dishes. And, like, I want there to be practical help. And then I also want there to be a lot of permission of like, there's literally no reason that you cannot gather with people. Like your home is wonderful. You are wonderful. Like you could not have a table and not know how to cook anything, and you could still have people over for dinner.
Okay.
Like that's what takeout is for, so it's about the environment. It's about the posture. So anyway, but yeah, that's always been something I've just loved talking about and doing.
And this is a throwback from when I was about to get married. Kendra directed our wedding. This is like a whole different lifetime ago. And we did a cooking class for my bachelorette. And I still remember.
We did.
We did.
I totally forgot about that. We did. That was so much fun. Yeah. I used to teach cooking classes. It was like, it's just a delight to get people excited about, I can do this. Like, It's just fun.
So much fun. And so much life has been lived since those 13 years ago.
I know. Totally.
So why do you still continue to call Greensboro home? So clearly, like 13 years ago, you were in a very different place, but you're still here in our city. So why, and what do you love about our city?
It will take an act of God for me to move from Greensboro. Like I love Greensboro so much. I was born here. I was born at Wesley Long Hospital. My husband, Kaz, was born in Japan, but he moved here when he was 2, and his family has lived in Greensboro since he was 2. And so like I went to, I've gone to school here. I've grown up here. And I know some people, understandably, want to move away from the place they grow up in. And so it's not that I'm saying like everyone should stay living where they grew up. But for me, watching the transition of Greensboro, just from like what Friendly Center used to be and what it is now. Like I remember when Brassfield was like the happening place. There was a Hams there. And Brassfield Cinema was the new movie theater, and that's where I spent so much of high school, was at Brassfield. And just seeing like the expansion of things and how many there's so many amazing restaurants in town, and the parks. And I feel like, I'm sure someone has said this before, but Greensboro to me, it has like all of the, like the access and assets of a city, of like a really big city, but it just feels a lot more small townish, like all the things downtown and the parades. And I mean, like we orient a lot of our calendar around Greensboro events, like every single year, it's just the libraries. Like I love everything about this place. It's home. It's just home. I don't ever want to leave.
And I hear that. And I'm trying to think of some places I found because you recommended them on your podcast. One is the Commercial Kitchen Store.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I didn't even know we have. And now I have this gigantic stainless steel mixing bowl, and I can do 2 like 48 muffins at a time in that bad boy.
So great. It's bigger than one's dishwasher, but it's still like
it has to be hand washed because the little spinny thing in the dishwasher can't make it over its circumference.
No, it can't handle it. No,
But I totally agree. Like even that, we have a commercial kitchen store that's open to the public, and you can go find like things you didn't even know existed. Right. And now we have Tanger Center, so we have access to Broadway quality performances. But then you still have mom and pop restaurants where you have the same server every time you go, and the same breakfast specials that they've had for 15 years, and it's still perfectly delightful.
Right. And all the historical stuff. I mean, having the Civil Rights Museum, and I mean, just like being able to go to the different parks. And I mean, there's just a lot of history that's been lived here, and it's just a really rich place without being overwhelming. Yeah. Like it's just I just love it. I love it. Whenever anyone comes to visit, I actually had a team member come visit recently for a work retreat or whatever. And she's from Ohio, and we were driving around, and she seriously was like, yeah, I see why you like it here. And has sort of like played around with like, maybe we should move to North Carolina. There's just something really, really special about Greensboro.
You can find Kendra at thelazygeniuscollective.com. You can pick up a copy of either of her best-selling books wherever books are sold. And she also releases a new episode of her podcast, The Lazy Genius, every single week. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ruth McKinney, your local Greensboro realtor. I'll see you next time.